Welcome back to San Jose, everyone. With our keys to the game, we go to Lisa Hillary, who moments ago caught up with Ducks assistant coach Bob Woods.
Bob, the last 4 games, the Sharks have outscored their opponents 15-7. Brent Burns is a big reason for that. How do you contain him?
Well, he's tough. He's a big guy that has a lot of skill, and he knows how to score. And he had the hat trick last night, so we'll be definitely playing some focus on him.
Thanks for the time, Bob.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you, Lisa. Going to be fun tonight. The Ducks and Sharks getting together for the first time this season. The Sharks have already finished their season series against division rival Vancouver. And here the Ducks are over a third of the way into the season, and it's the first of 5 meetings with San Jose. They'll come here 2 more times. The Sharks will visit Honda Center on 2 occasions before the regular season is all said and done.
There's a good look at the starting goaltender, Jonas Hiller. He figures that he is going to be under fire early on in this one. As mentioned, this San Jose team has just blown the doors off of some of their opponents in the early going of games, especially in this building. Hiller's going to be tested.
And there's a look at what the Sharks have done in the opening period. The only team that has scored more first-period goals than has Anaheim. Jean Hebert and Don Van Massenhoven are the referees for tonight's game. Vaughn Rody, and Scott Driscoll are the linesmen, and we're underway. The Sharks in their home teal with white numbers. The Ducks in the road whites with black numbers. And Koivu chases a puck into the San Jose zone. Oh, he had Cogliano behind the defense, but he couldn't slide it over. Long lead pass comes to Kennedy up the near side. He feeds it into the Anaheim zone, and there to meet it is Sammy Vatanen. 2 goals in the last 3 games for Vatanen as he rims it around the boards, and Winnick forces it to center.
In the early going, John, you see the San Jose defensemen pinching in along the boards. They're all about pressure, forechecking pressure in the early going, and a lot of that has to do with their defense being so active.
One of the more offensive teams in the National Hockey League. The Sharks 3rd overall in goal scoring coming into tonight's game. And Bruce Boudreau is aware of it. He's aware of the first period successes of this team as well, telling us this morning he thought if his team could get out of the first period okay, he liked their chances. So certainly a point of emphasis for the Ducks as they move it into the San Jose zone. Couture plays it back into his own zone, nearly gave it up to Penner. Getzlaf follows up, and boy, there's that quick transition as Tommy Wingels is sealed off along the far boards by Lovejoy. Fans wanted a penalty they won't get. Perry tries to dig it free. It comes to Marleau, who rims it around the boards all the way to the near side. Demers steps up from his position on the near point. He comes back into the lineup after being a healthy scratch, Jason Demers, the last 2 games.
And it looks like Todd McClellan is going to get the Marleau line out on the ice head-to-head against Getzlaf whenever he can negotiate that matchup.
There's Burns. He swats it in on the backhand. Hiller thinks better of wandering out to play it as Thornton is skiing right there on Valesky's hip. Rimmed around the boards, held in. Demers shot tipped wide by Thornton, who recovers. Tried to center for Burns, but a nice job defensively staying home on the near post there was Valesky to intercept. And as he sends it back, they're going to rule this icing. Wow.
Kyle Palmieri, with great speed away from the puck, was splitting both San Jose Shark defenders, and he had a speed advantage. The linesman again has to make the call at the moment that the puck crosses the hash marks, and that one is one that probably hurts Bruce Boudreau in behind the Anaheim bench.
It's either icing or interference, one of the 2 there, and obviously icing was the choice. A big chance again tonight for Kyle Palmieri. Incidentally, if you're just joining us, no Teemu Selanne back-end to back-to-backs. He did not travel with the team to San Jose, so Palmieri gets the promotion. He's up on the second line tonight, at least to start this one, as he plays with Perreault, who loses the puck off the face-off, and it's chipped over top of the goal by Hertl. Tomas Hertl, the young rookie who leads all first-year players in the league in scoring. And there's a shot from the point that deflects up, and that hit Thornton up high.
Yeah, hit him right in the face. And Joe Thornton,
he's in some distress.
Is in distress as he heads back to the San Jose bench. We'll keep an eye on Thornton. That puck appeared to catch him in the mouth, John.
He ended up taking a circuitous route back to the bench, almost as if he wasn't sure exactly where it was, and he goes directly to the San Jose locker room. And I guess I can take the blame for that one. I talked about his durability in the pregame show and the fact that he doesn't miss games, and here we are, second shift of the game.
It's a deflected puck. Burns blasts it from the blue line. We'll see what it hits right here. It's actually, it looks like Dan Boyle, who was sniffing around the front of the Anaheim net all the way down from the right point position. He redirects it. It catches Jumbo Joe right in the head, and hopefully he is going to be okay.
Face-off controlled at center by the Ducks, and Mark Fistrick gets it deep into the San Jose zone. Fistrick perhaps coming off his best game as a Duck, and he delivers a big hit along the near side boards there as he sent Mike Brown, the former Duck, to the ice. Fistrick was a +3 in the win against Calgary last night, and I believe he might get a penalty here.
I think he's going to go for charging. The early indication from the referee was charging in the neutral zone, and I don't know about that. We'll get an opportunity to look at it here in just a second.
I thought Brown saw him at the last second, Brian, and kind of went down to try to avoid the contact.
Well, it's the number of steps that a defenseman takes before he lands the hit. That's not charging. He is gliding into that hit against Mike Brown. I do not like that call whatsoever. Brown ducks down, and that's not a good call. So this San Jose power play gets an early opportunity. It's a gift.
They're used to opportunities. They have 34 more power play chances than their opponents this year, and they move it right in front immediately, and Couture's shot turned away by Hiller. Boy, for so long it was Joe Thornton stirring the drink on the San Jose power play. Now it's Joe Pavelski, who is 4th in the league in power play scoring, and he handles it out high. Pavelski already with 13 power play points this year, moves it down low, and it ricochets, right to the side of the net, and Havlat had a chance, but the bounce off the end boards finds Getzlaf.
A second consecutive try for the Sharks by getting the puck down to Havlat immediately to the left of Jonas Hiller. That's a tough area for the Ducks to defend.
Burns in full stride as he brings it in on right wing and drops it back to Pavelski. Right through the slot, man. That's just a little too hot to handle for Hertl. High tip play off the stick of Wingles, ends up in the corner, and now in behind the Anaheim goal, recovered again by Pavelski. Out high now for Burns, the defenseman, converted back to forward, who can handle the point on the power play, and his shot got through. Then he knocks down a clearing attempt as Lindholm had a chance to get it out, and now on the second effort, it's Koivu who clears.
Well, you look out on the ice, the Ducks shorthanded, and you have got Vatanen and Lindholm as the penalty-killing defenseman, and gives you a pretty good idea of just the situation on the blue line for Anaheim, with 4 of their top 6 defenders out of the lineup with injuries, and youngsters who would not normally be in these situations have got to find a way to get the job done.
This is the Sharks' 108th power play this season. They have only surrendered 73 to their opponents. That's a +35 in opportunities. And now they turn it over at the line. Nice play by Bonino as he swats it away and heads back shorthanded. And the drop pass that missed Corey Perry. Look out, Cookout. Back come the Sharks with numbers, 2-on-1. And Hiller makes the save as he drifted back into his crease. Havlat had no choice but to shoot the puck.
You know what? This is really well defended. After a bad turnover, shorthanded, the Sharks are going to break away on a 2-on-1. Marty Havlat's got the puck. And watch how well Hampus Lindholm does. He forces him wide, almost all the way out to the dot, which makes it a much easier stop for Jonas Hiller. I can tell you, as a former goaltender, when you can get defenders to put pressure on the puck carrier on a 2-on-1 and force them wide, that defenseman has really done a terrific job. And that was just great defense from Lindholm.
Final second of the power play, and the Sharks win the draw. Fistrick steps out of the box, and Anaheim full strength. The Ducks now 14 of 14 on the penalty kill in their last 5 games, including that successful kill there. Now, Todd McClellan was asked this morning if, when looking at tape of the Ducks, Hampus Lindholm stood out to him, Brian, and he said, as only a coach can, with as little emphasis as possible, but you could tell, he said, oh yes, that the Sharks, and I'm sure all the coaching staffs around the league that have to deal with the Ducks, are well aware of number 47 and what he brings.
19 years of age, Hampus Lindholm, and he's going to play a ton tonight as well.
Finds himself paired tonight with the NHL debut partner, Alex Grant. And he's becoming a go-to guy for Bruce Boudreau back on his blue line when it comes to mixing up his pairs. Great pass to Perry from Getzlaf, and he scores!
What a shot!
Boy, did he pick the top corner, and Anaheim strikes first.
Man, can he snap it. Corey Perry picks his head up, and just as a Shark defender is about to close, he says, you know, I'm going to shoot it now. And he catches Antti Niemi a little bit off balance. Great pass, from Getzlaf to spring Corey Perry. And it's just a little flip of the wrist. Watch this shot. It is perfect. Up into the top corner. Right-handed shot. Their favorite place is high glove on a goaltender, and Corey Perry just threads the needle. What a great finish for the Ducks, number 10.
He came into tonight 4th in the league in goal scoring. That's number 15 on the season. Getzlaf will draw an assist. And off the ensuing faceoff, we get a hand pass call that will bring a whistle. Getzlaf extends his scoring streak now to 8 games. He has points in each of his last 10. Streak was interrupted by those 3 games he missed with the upper body injury, but it didn't seem to affect his play on the ice, to say the least. Penner gets the secondary assist on the goal, and that's big. So important against the Sharks to score first. That's only the 9th time in 26 games that San Jose has given up the game's first goal. Corey Perry from Getzlaf and Penner. Perhaps you've heard that before. Anaheim strikes first. For Who Got It Done, brought to you by YP.com, the new way to do.
Yeah, Ryan Getzlaf just keeps rolling along. Points in each of the last 10 games that he has played. He got 15 points, plus 6 rating over that span. And that pass to Corey Perry was right on the tape to a player in full speed, kind of slash skating through the neutral zone. So skating on an angle through the neutral zone.
And here we go, right off the face-off. Mike Brown and Tim Jackman. Pair of 18 squaring off. Jackman got the right hand in. Now he kind of muscles and doubles Brown over. But Brown comes back swinging. Goes with the right uppercut as he got Jackman a little twisted around.
He's game. Mike Brown is a smaller player, but Duck fans remember when he was part of the Anaheim Ducks that he was willing to go with anybody with his team trailing. He wanted to go with Tim Jackman. He survived the first part of this fight. Spent about a year and a half with the Ducks.
The word scrapper comes to mind when I think of Mike Brown, and that's what he was doing in that fight. He wasn't where he wanted to be, but
you know what? I thought he was a good pickup, John, when the Sharks got him because he's got speed.
Yeah.
And this is a speed team. They wanted to add some feistiness, but they added speed at the same time. Played over 100 games as a member of the Ducks. 103 actually, and in those 103 on 166 penalty minutes. So he spent an awful lot of time in the penalty box.
There was a lot of talk before the game here in San Jose yesterday because the St. Louis Blues were in town about whether there might be some retribution for Max Lapierre, who put a hit on Dan Boyle and took him out of the San Jose lineup for a while. And I thought Brown had one of the more interesting quotes. Everybody was kind of playing the political game as to whether or not it's retribution, whether you need to fight or not. And Mike Brown just put it rather succinctly. He said, I just would like to fight. And that was clear right there as he and Tim Jackman got together. We saw that from him over his years with the Ducks. Came over from Edmonton earlier in the year. This is just his 12th game with the Sharks. And now here's Tommy Wingle. Drives in, a big rebound as he put it in from below the goal line, and Hiller able to make the stop. Well, it was a good opportunity there. As that rebound came right to Patrick Marleau, and now it's flipped back in offside as the call on the Sharks.
Now, we have not seen Joe Thornton back just as of yet. So all of a sudden, a little bit more ice time for Joe Pavelski. Wingles goes wide, just dumps it into Jonas Hiller. Boy, leaves a fat rebound. Patrick Marleau was in the vicinity, but could not get the stick on that puck. Todd McLellan's team, sorry, John, they shoot the puck from everywhere. I mean, as a goaltender, if you're playing against the Sharks, they'll take it right into the corner. They'll fire from everywhere on the ice surface. Much like when McLellan was part of the Detroit Red Wings coaching staff, it's the same type of approach.
Well, the Sharks lead the league in shots on goal as Pavelski fans on a centering pass from behind the net. Boyle pressured by Winnick, has to retreat at the line as he keeps it in, and now it's fired up the glass and out by Lovejoy. Todd McLellan just coached in his 400th game behind the San Jose bench here on Tuesday in a game they won in overtime against the Los Angeles Kings. Winnick gets a good shoulder into Tyler Kennedy, and the loose puck comes back to Anaheim. Fowler, pressured, has to just angle it off the wall. Bounces back through Cam. Desjardins goes in after it. Now plays it back out, and Boyle slides it across. Stewart, purposed wide shot, comes off the boards right to the side of the net. Desjardins got it back, and Boyle's shot was blocked. Kennedy in the corner, puts it behind the net. The wraparound by Hertl is smothered by Hiller. When the Ducks score 5 goals or more this season, Hooters will give you 5 free wings. Print the coupon from your home and head to Hooters, your destination for free wings in Southern California.
Good stop by Jonas Hiller. And Hiller is going to take as many whistles as he possibly can. It's interesting now, Todd McLellan forced to adjust his lineup because of the injury to Joe Thornton. In the early going, it is Joe Pavelski that has been double shifted.
He's got so many options, though, Brian. I mean, they're so deep in the fact that Marlowe's been moved to the wing over the years. He's a natural centerman that can easily move back there if pressed into duty. I mean, a lot of teams would be in a much larger bind. Not that losing Joe Thornton is minimized in any way. Alex Grant making his NHL debut, gloves the puck down and moves it ahead. Big right-hand shooting defenseman for the Ducks. He's a leading scorer for Norfolk in the American League at the time of his recall 2 days ago.
Yeah, the book on Grant is that he has got an NHL caliber shot from the blue line.
He wears number 51. He's out there with Hampus Lindholm tonight. And Grant will go back with Lindholm to get to this loose puck.
And because he is a right-handed shot, that does allow Hampus Lindholm to move over to his normal left-hand side of the rink, and that is significant. Hampus will prefer that side of the ice, of course, being a left-handed shot.
1-0 Ducks as we approach the halfway mark of the opening period, and now it's Fistrick back to get one for Anaheim. +3, as I mentioned yesterday. Also had 3 hits in the win over Calgary. Fistrick headmans for Perry off his stick, and it comes back to him. They'll start again.
Well, Joe Thornton has just got back to the San Jose bench, so probably got to the locker room, took a couple of stitches, and he is ready to go.
Fistrick holds the line nicely as he doesn't allow Wingle's entry, and now here's Dan Boyle. I mentioned that hit that Boyle had ended up costing him 7 games, and his coach Todd McLellan admitting earlier this week that he doesn't think Boyle is back to his usual self just yet, even admitting that he might be a little bit tentative, albeit he's still got 5 goals and 4 on the power play.
There's a rebound left by Niemi, and another quick little shot by Corey Perry.
Yeah, Perry just getting it on net from distance, and now retrieves the puck around the boards for Bonino, who battles but loses possession, and it skips across to Tyler Kennedy. The former Pittsburgh Penguin diagonally dumps into the Anaheim zone, and back to carefully pick it up is Patrick Maroon. Maroon draws back in after being a healthy scratch yesterday at home against Calgary. And offside are the Sharks as they sweep it back into the Anaheim zone. 10.5 gone in San Jose. 1 goal so far. It belongs to the Ducks. This Tuesday night, join us at Honda Center as we'll celebrate Christmas with our friends from the LA Kiss. Bring your cameras and see the unveiling of the LA Christmas tree. And meet superstars Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons as the Ducks host the Kings, presented by Dollar Loan Center. That's this Tuesday, featuring a special ticket offer for season tickets to the LA Kiss. And that kicks off a stretch where the Ducks are going to continue to play against some of the best in the West.
Oh, the Kings on Tuesday. Going to be a great atmosphere at Honda Center for that one. And that road trip, Chicago and then St. Louis, there'll be a few ice bags, I would imagine, John, on the charter ride on the way home from that one.
St. Louis Blues general manager Doug Armstrong stayed in San Jose after his team's game here last night, in part to scout the Ducks, whom they will see for the first time on Saturday. The Blues off to a roaring good start of their own. Here's Burns chipping it around Lovejoy, and he puts it back into the slot. A backhand pass right through the blue paint. Hurdle couldn't handle it as Thornton set him up for a 4x6.
I don't know how Tomas Hurdle missed. Was his stick lifted at just the last second? That was a great play to get that puck across to Hurdle. I think he just fans on it.
One of the young man who was top 3 amongst rookies in 6 different offensive categories coming into today, including goals and points. Hurdle got off to that unbelievable start. 7 goals in his first 5 games. First player to do that in the NHL in 33 years. Fans again wanted a penalty they don't get, and Penner runs down the lob pass back into the San Jose zone. Look at him use his frame to protect the puck, and he waits for the mates to join, and now gets it deep for Getzlaf. Behind the net trying to get away from Justin Braun. And Getzlaf again doing a good job to possess the puck and not give it away. Now Fistrick rims it around down low. Penner got a touch, and Perry keeps the cycle game going all the way to the near side for Fistrick. When you get Fistrick on the ice with these 3, there's a lot of beef out there for the Ducks.
There certainly is.
Right into the blue paint. Perry lost the handle, but he just was like a bull in a china shop as he was bouncing off everything in teal. Marleau leads the rush the other way with Wingels, gets it back to him, and he loses it as he tries to cut across the top of the crease. Perry careening into Marleau, but Desjardins kept it in, got a shot through, just flashing the left pad in time was Hiller.
Yeah, long shift. Dustin Penner, Ryan Getzlaf caught on the ice here. Getzlaf had to really bust his way back to get in position on the back check, and not a lot of gas left in that tank.
Nice play by Fistrick to poke the puck free and move it to center ice, and now Maroon gets drilled as he goes behind the net after it, and he's still tied up with Demers. He didn't appreciate the treatment. Ducks turn the Sharks away at the line, and Jackman gets it deep. Maroon again will pursue. Niemi out to play it. He moves it to Scott Hannon, the 15-year veteran. Now in his second tour of duty here in San Jose, and Bonino took it back on the near boards.
Yeah, good job on the forecheck. Bonino keeps the puck alive.
Well, you get the feeling Jason Demers just agitated Patrick Maroon with that play behind the net, and Patrick is playing with a burr in his saddle right now. Fans again calling for penalties that don't happen, and again the Ducks win the puck. Pitchforked over top of the crease by Bonino, and Niemi way out to get it as it was held in by Grant, who came up the boards. Cogliano without a helmet will retreat to neutral ice to get to this one. Grant tells him to give it to Lindholm, who skips it right in on Niemi, and he'll be forced to freeze it here.
Lots of action. Great shift for the Ducks, but we're going to go back and take a look at that opportunity for Hertl. Thornton throws it across the crease, and I think he just fans off it. It's going to roll off the toe of his stick. Got a wide open net. The Ducks a little bit late to get to Hertl. And then Patrick Marleau down low on the doorstep. Sami Vatanen went to work on his hands and may have gotten away with one.
Ducks win the draw in the San Jose zone. A little chip pass against the grain by Fowler does not connect with Winnick. Kennedy swats it across, and it just rolls away from Marty Havlat. Havlat has already missed 13 games due to injury this year, which continues a theme throughout his 13-year career. Lovejoy with a one-timer, and Niemi with a glove save, and he'll hold. Purchase an Anaheim Ducks holiday pack today, and you'll not only get 2 tickets to 3 upcoming games, but you get a neck pillow and a retractable pair of earbuds as well. They start for just $124. You can order them anytime at AnaheimDucks.com/holiday pack.
Offensive zone faceoff. Bruce Boudreau gets the Getzlaf line back over the boards. And we talked about Justin Braun, and that is the matchup defensively that Todd McLellan seems very comfortable with.
You know, I asked him this morning, I said, what's changed about Braun's game? 2 of the last 3 years, Braun had the worst plus-minus of any blue liner for the Sharks, Brian. But this year, he's second in the league at +17, and he told me, he said, we give him an assignment now on pretty much a nightly basis, and he seems to thrive in that situation. When you talk about matchup defensemen, every team likes to have one, as Perry's high drive is gloved off by Niemi, and Braun has made a huge step here. He's never even been a plus player. A long way to go this year, but when you're second in the league, it's certainly a sign of marked improvement.
Yeah, he's playing with Brad Stewart a lot as the primary shutdown tandem, and of course, when you are that shutdown tandem, it also means that quite often you're going to be playing alongside Joe Thornton as part of a 5-man unit, and with the dominance of the Sharks' big line, it certainly had a huge impact, I would imagine, on that plus-minus.
Anaheim's starting to play a little more in the San Jose zone as we're now into the final minute of the opening period. The Ducks have survived till now, the opening period, much as Bruce Boudreau told us earlier this morning, Brian, that knowing the level of success the Sharks have enjoyed in the first period, that he was really first and foremost just looking for his team to get out of the first period in good shape. Burns rips it for Hertl into the slot. He finally gets the handle as he spins below the goal line. Sets it up for Demers, and his shot blocked by Cogliano. Tries to spring it ahead through the middle, and Winnick couldn't get an angle, but leaves it for Cogliano. Final seconds of the period as he puts it on net, forcing Niemi to hold. And then Cogliano taken into the corner. Winnick jumps in, gloves and sticks strewn all over the place.
Andrew Cogliano took the shot, followed it up. Looked like he gave a couple of shots. I think, was it Marc-Edouard Vlasic?
It's Jason Demers.
And it is. You're right, John. It is Demers. Demers back into the lineup, and there's a little fencing going on between he and Cogliano, and Demers.
Wow, he got rid of the gloves quick, didn't he?
Got rid of the gloves quick. Always easier to do when you've got that visor on, by the way.
Well, we've seen Andrew Cogliano over the course of the last 3 years, and it takes a lot to get him to drop the gloves, and now I understand, because I don't think he ever did drop the gloves there. I don't think he had the opportunity to do so. Demers, as I mentioned earlier, is drawing back in for Todd McClellan for the first time in 3 games. He'd been a healthy scratch the last 2 games, and oftentimes the player, Brian, I know, feels he needs to make an impact, show his coach something out there when they've been a healthy scratch, and perhaps Demers getting a little overzealous there with a player like Cogliano.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, if they tack on the extra 2 to Demers, then Todd McClellan will not enjoy that very much. It's always been an issue of consistency, like it is for a lot of what we call bubble defensemen, those who are in and out of the lineup. Consistency has been the issue for Demers, but you're right, he wants to make an impression.
Well, let's see what Jean Hebert has here. Well, maybe he's not going to share it with us. He will share it with Bruce Boudreau, however. And nothing up on the scoreboard yet here at SAP Center, and Don Van Massenhoven over to relay the information to Todd McClellan.
Well, the Ducks would love for the extra 2 to be tacked on to Demers,
well,
because
Winnick has gone to the box, excuse me, Brian, as does Scott Hannon. I think we're going to get a lot of roughing calls here. Well, there's an extra 2 up for Scott Hannon. He got 4 minutes for roughing, so that's the additional 2. Cogliano and Winnick each getting 2 for roughing. 2 for roughing on Demers, and then Hannon, who I think was the 4th guy in there, ends up with a double minor for roughing.
Well, the Sharks know that Anaheim's power play is heating up. It's been about 30% over the course of their last dozen games. They're looking so much more comfortable in terms of getting the power play established. Only 5.3 seconds remaining in this period. But if they don't get anything accomplished in the 5.3, a fresh sheet of ice to begin the second period is huge.
Well, Todd McClellan, if nothing else, is getting quite an audience over there at his bench. Now he's got Jean Hebert over there. Van Massenhoven was there for a while. There's 5.3 seconds left in the period, so unless a quick face-off win by Getzlaf and a shot and perhaps a rebound, the Ducks are looking at starting the second period with the extra man. Their first power play of the night, as the Sharks work it to the corner, and Vlasic will just eat the puck there. That'll do it for the period. And Anaheim, with the lead after 1, will have fresh ice with nearly a full complement on the power play to begin the second.
The Ducks said in order to make this a winnable game, they had to get through the first period against a team that has been blowing the doors off of people. Not only did they do that, they exit the opening period with a lead. So a great shot by Corey Perry, some superlative goaltending from Jonas Hiller, and this young defense is bending but not breaking.
But they're on the road, and they have the lead after 1, and that's what matters most. The Sharks have come out flying in San Jose most of the season. Anaheim weathers an early storm in a typically physical Pacific Division battle, and they lead after 1. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Satisfy your late-night cravings with Jack's Munchie Meal, available after 9 p.m. at participating restaurants. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Some brave SoCal souls here in San Jose. I say that in the kindest regard. This is a tough place to play, but the fans are fairly friendly. They've treated us well over the years when we've been here. They have. The Ducks with a good opening period, a surviving type opening period. Bruce Boudreau alluded to it earlier today, said let's get out of the first period and see how we do. I like our chances. They got out of the first period.
They got a great goaltending performance, I thought, from Jonas Hiller, and the Sharks, who are probably talking about the fact that they had opportunities that they didn't really bear down on. Take a look at our Honda highlights. Hurdle with a great bid early on. You see the aggressive forecheck from Brent Burns that coughs one up. And then on the power play, they had 2 power play opportunities. That one, Logan Couture, right on the doorstep. Jonas Hiller, I thought, did a terrific job battling his way through all of the traffic set up in front. And then Getzlaf to Perry, they are just absolutely magic together. And what a shot that was by Corey Perry to give the Ducks a lead. Matt Bolesky, very physical opening 20 from him. Tim Jackman and Mike Brown dropped the gloves and got a little bit of fun going on in their favor. But Hiller again locating pucks through traffic. That was the penalty taken by Ben Lovejoy. A good hooking call there as he impacted Patrick Marleau. And that's the one that Hertl has got to put in the back of the net. Todd McLellan, I'm sure, will talk to the youngster. The Sharks were unable, for the most part, to get in behind the Anaheim defense in the opening period. It's a tribute to this young Anaheim defense, bending but not breaking. Take a look at the scoring chances. 7-2 in favor of San Jose. A lot of those chances did come on the 2 San Jose power plays. And remember, the Ducks will start the second period with a fresh sheet of ice with essentially their opening power play of the game.
Indeed, and I referred to it at the top. It was so important for Anaheim to score first. It was only the 8th time all year the Sharks let their opponent score first in a game. But San Jose has not lost in regulation in 15 games this year when leading after one period of play. So that first period, that much more important as the Ducks get out of it with the 1-goal lead. And moments ago, Lisa Hillary spoke with Ducks assistant coach Brad Lauer.
Well, Brad, you killed off 2 of their power plays in that first period. You scored a goal. Tell me, how pleased are you with respect to a road game and how great a start this is?
Well, I mean, we're obviously happy. I mean, there's some areas we have to be better at for sure with the turnovers, but I mean, they're a good team. They're one of the best teams in the first period. So to come out with a lead, we're happy with it, but we have to improve on little things.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you, Lisa. Ryan Getzlaf having words. I shouldn't say having words, having a conversation with the referees right before the start of the second period.
Well, the referee, I think Getzlaf was saying, what the heck are you doing over talking to Todd McLellan? And you got to let us know what's going on as well. As soon as the referees got onto the ice, McLellan called them over. He spent a lot of time at the San Jose bench. I'm sure that McLellan looked at the video and thought there should have been a third man in penalty against Daniel Winnick, who came to the aid of Andrew Cogliano. And eventually, of course, the Sharks have been put down a man here, and so Anaheim will get a chance on the power play.
Well, McLellan had a long audience with Van Massenhoven and Hebert at the end of the first period as well. I'm surprised that he had more to talk about after looking at the tape.
Well, it changes. Yeah, they go back and they look at the video, and then they have more specific information that they want to discuss.
An errant pass that will be ruled icing against the Ducks here. So an inauspicious debut on the power play just 27 seconds in to this, the second period. Still a minute and a half of extra man time for the Ducks.
Bruce Boudreau, like all coaches, will go in and look at the stats from the opening period and say, you know, one area we got to get better at is in the face-off circle, where the Sharks absolutely dominated in the opening period. They won 16 to 21 draws.
Couture wins another one here. Justin Braun puts it on net. And Anaheim able to recover possession. Getzlaf behind the net, protecting it as Tommy Wingles watches. Boy, has it been a big step for Tommy Wingles this year. The fourth-year man already has career highs in goals and assists and points. And we're not just a third of the way through the season.
Well, this is not a good power play for Anaheim. And they
John McCarthy sweeps it deep.
Just not making good passes. And you see, if you don't put passes on the tape, you see what happens.
And here's a turnover. Brad Stewart steers it back for Desjardins. His shot blocked by Getzlaf. But precious time winding off the penalty clock as Hannon, still with 40 seconds left in his minor penalty. Niemi stays put as it's rimmed around and in. Penner recovers and rifles it right through the crease. Bonino able to keep it alive for Getzlaf. Down low for Penner. Crease contested immediately. Bonino banks it off the boards and Getzlaf will walk the line. Across for Fowler. 20 seconds to go in the power play, and now it's Bonino top of the right circle. He pulls the trigger, and it bounced free for Fowler, and he put it right back through the crease, and another save on the near side.
He cannot believe it. Cam Fowler hits the pipe with a wide-open net. Niemi had no idea where the puck was. Shot comes in from Bonino. It hits Perry in the hand. It goes to Fowler. He banks it off the far side post. What a break for Antti Niemi and the Sharks. Look at that. Cam Fowler can't believe it. And then Niemi, by the way, robs Corey Perry on the rebound. Watch this puck. Off the inside of the post, the back of his foot. And then he makes a great save on Perry.
If you're Antti Niemi, perhaps you're buying a lottery ticket tonight. Votman at the line for Palmieri. Down low, Bolesky lets it come through, and Perreault unable to take it from behind the net, and it's banked out As Hertl steps out of the box, he's serving the extra minor penalty to Jason Demers. So the Ducks come up empty on the power play. Going back to last season, they are now 0 for their last 16 against the Sharks on the power play, and neither of these teams has found the formula with the extra man.
Looks like offside.
He sure did. Thornton instead sets up Hertl, and Hiller got just enough of it. Both goaltenders inches away from giving up goals here early on in the second period. Sammy Vatanen runs down a puck off of Bolesky. He gets a second opportunity and stick handles out of the defensive zone, gets center red, and will chip it deep.
Well, good scoring chances for both teams here in the opening moments of this third period.
Sharks 3 abreast across the blue line, and Pavelski's long drive gobbled up by Jonas Hiller.
Kind of a wobbler there for Joe Pavelski. Didn't get all of that puck. Here was the last rush up ice. Very close to being offside at the Anaheim blue line. And then a great pass into the middle. Boy, Jonas Hiller reads it perfectly, gets across, and makes another good stop on the point-blank bid by Hertl. Hertl, boy, he's had some chances.
The young man came just flying out of the gate. I mentioned 7 goals in his first 5 games. He became the first player in NHL history to do that since 1980 when Blair McDonald did it with the Edmonton Oilers.
John, you can see here with Hertl, the one thing that really stands out to me is that he knows how to get open. I mean, he just jumps into holes and makes himself available.
Look at Fowler carrying the mail inside the blue line. His wrist shot is squeezed by Niemi.
The Sharks, they got a good one at 17 overall, 2012 NHL entry draft. The other thing that they're saying here in San Jose is that a great job by their scouting staff in that he's actually a much more effective player on the smaller ice rink than he was when he was playing back home in the Czech Republic. A much more dangerous player. He jumps into holes and he gets to the front of the net very, very quickly. We've seen that in tonight's game for sure.
Made his mark on the National Hockey League early in the season when he had that 4-goal game here against the New York Rangers, and it was that 4th goal that he scored that caught a lot of people's attention around the league, and Maroon trying to clear it went into the San Jose bench.
Back to Hertl and the fact that he seems to be a better player on the small ice surface, and we've seen that over the years with a number of European players who play on the big ice, come to North America, and actually deliver more than what was expected of them. Johan Franzen of the Detroit Red Wings immediately comes to mind. 4 goals in that game, October the 8th against the Rangers. Remember, the 4th goal was the one that he shot on a partial breakaway in between his legs. He took a little bit of heat about that, but I had no problem with it. It was the exuberance of youth and a kid just having fun.
Puck batted out of midair by Perry, who pursues it into the San Jose zone, tries to get it to the goal mouth, bounces, and Getzlaf comes in. It's still loose, and nobody able to get the handle for the Sharks as Vlasic pestered from behind the net. Braun headmans up the right side and gets it back after handing it off to Wingels. Marleau behind the net. Keeps it alive. Penner in his feet, unable to get it, and Marleau has it once more. Patrick Marleau whips it across Marc-Edouard Vlasic, and his shot deflected in. Big-time traffic in front, and Logan Couture got a piece of it.
Yes, he did. A good quick wrist shot by Marc-Edouard Vlasic. And the Sharks, who have been going to the net, get rewarded. Couture, great hand-eye coordination. You see that puck is going wide. He pulls it back against the grain. A little backhanded redirect by Couture, and it's off the bar and in. No chance for Jonas Hiller.
9th of the season for Couture. 20 goals in each of the last 3 seasons. He's only been in the league 4 years. There are those around these parts that just flat out call him a stud, Hazy. As you look to the future for the Sharks, and with guys like Thornton and Marleau and Boyle in the last years of their contracts, you look at Couture and Burns and guys like Braun, and they tend to be the future for this franchise, and they brought them along at the same time that all those other guys are continuing to produce.
You know, he's matched up tonight against the Getzlaf line, and that's another indication of just what a good player he is on both sides of the puck. Couture obviously is a great offensive player, but what often goes overlooked is what he does when he does not have possession of the puck. So look out in this building. Goals tend to come in bunches for this San Jose team, and they have seized the momentum back.
Couture had a 3-assist game here yesterday afternoon in the win against the St. Louis Blues. And he keeps the ball rolling with his 9th of the year from Vlasic and Marleau at 4:16 of the second. And we got ourselves a brand new hockey game tied at 1 here in San Jose. Scott Hannon's wrist shot tipped on the way by Burns, who then couldn't pick up the loose change, and Cogliano off to the races. Joined by Winnick into the zone. Tries to get it to the net. It's deflected. Fowler came in to join the rush. Now has to peel back defensively. Koivu works down low along with Winnick. Saku had 2 assists yesterday against Calgary. Wins the puck back to the line, and Lovejoy sends it across. Fowler shot deflected. Cogliano wins the puck, and Koivu off the goal line. They had to go off the stick of Hannon. Winnick again gets possession, got it back to the net. Stick save by Niemi.
Well, good shift here for the line of Koivu along with Cogliano and Winnick. They play it in San Jose's end. They force Joe Thornton to play defense.
Ducks regroup. Lovejoy able to get it ahead, and Bolesky bounces it in. Big rebound off of Niemi. Pavelski to the rescue, clears the zone. Lindholm couldn't touch it. Would have been offside, and now the Sharks with it again. Hannon trying to thread the needle for Havlat. Marty Havlat peels it back, drops it off, and Kennedy unable to get it to the front of the net. Tyler Kennedy on the backhand gets it back for Mark Stewart. That shot went wide. Pavelski holds at the point. Across for Stewart, trying to find a shooting angle. Instead angles it off the wall right to Kennedy, and Hiller held the post.
Yeah, and that was Alex Grant down low, who was victimized away from the puck by Kennedy.
And I think he's going to get victimized with a penalty here. Hooking will be the call, and he'll get his first NHL penalty minutes.
Let's go back to the last stop by Jonas Hiller, and here's one of those pucks that comes off the end boards right out in front of the net, and that was Kennedy that got away from Alex Grant. And I gotta believe that Alex Grant may have taken a little bit more of a liberty against Kennedy because of that. He got nailed, however. It's a hooking penalty against him.
Grant, a bit of an unknown commodity coming up to the Ducks, was injured during training camp, Brian, and unable to show his wares to the Ducks. He went down and has had a good season in Norfolk, but the Ducks so thin on defense. He becomes the 10th different defenseman to appear in an Anaheim sweater so far this season. For the Ducks, their 29th game of the year. Third power play of the night for the Sharks. And they gain entry into the zone. It's Pavelski in the slot, had his shot blocked by Getzlaf, who went down, and Winnick able to dribble it back into the San Jose zone.
And that's key block by Ryan Getzlaf on another great scoring opportunity. And you can see the speed that San Jose is starting to bring to this game.
Boyle brings it in, gets it back from Couture, moves it across, and a little miscommunication from the Sharks. And Lovejoy easily fires it right on goal. Niemi plays it for Boyle. Boyle has 4 power play goals already this year. That's second amongst defensemen in the entire National Hockey League. And he'll head man for Couture across the line. Joined on the rush by Jason Demers. It comes right on goal. Hiller made the save. Fistrick's clearing attempt went off of Perry and stays in the zone. That's an unfortunate bounce for the Ducks. Thornton works the right wing half wall. Down low to Couture. They'll trade places. Out high, Demers one-timer off the stick of Koivu. Came to the side of the net. Unable to freeze it was Hiller. Backhanded just wide.
That may have caught the crossbar.
While it was Hurdle picked it off the end boards, then gets back up and redirects one wide. They'll feed it back to the line. Vlasic's shot deflected wide. Hurdle again serves it up for Vlasic. Rolling puck. He tries to settle. Hurdle off the half wall. Gives it up. Comes across, and Demers coming in on the weak side back door, but the pass somewhat handcuffed him.
Well, Tomas Hurdle, we're seeing this young man for the first time, and boy, he's impressive, and he just rings that backhander off of the crossbar. Look at it. Watch the quick hands here. Forehand to backhand. He knows he's going to get drilled. Koivu eventually, along with Vatanen, gets to him. But Tomas Hurdle comes within an inch of giving the Sharks the lead.
20 seconds left in the San Jose power play, and the Ducks win a face-off, but Vlasic able to glove it down at the stripe. He and Hurdle play catch. Burns moves it across, and now this one deflected out of play with 9 seconds left, as Justin Braun's shot never made it to the Anaheim goal.
Yeah, that time it was Havlat who was set up in front. I think he redirects that puck over the glass. So this faceoff will come outside, but the Shark power play, they're winning faceoffs, John. They're able to get into the offensive zone and get the power play established pretty easily.
Justin Braun off the draw, the native of St. Paul, Minnesota, gets it across to his partner, Vlasic. And again, into the zone are the Sharks. The penalty is over to Grant. The Ducks full strength. And now 3 for 3 on the kill tonight. San Jose has authored 8 shots on goal in their 3 power plays. Tied at 1 with just under 12 to go in the second period. Ducks now with 16 consecutive penalty kills. Bonino turned away by Vlasic as he just got inside the San Jose line. Grant whips it across and gets it back into the middle of the ice. Nice headman pass just out of the reach of Palmieri, and it's icing as the pass came from just on the other side of center red. A reminder, as you enjoy a cold one watching this one tonight, it'll be Miller time coming up a little bit later on in our broadcast, as always. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
A little bit of nerves, I think, on the part of Alex Grant there. He had a winger wide open and just overled him with the pass. And now you got to deal with another defensive zone faceoff, and the Sharks win it again.
So Grant, the Nova Scotia native, stays out there, along with Lindholm, and the Ducks try to clear the zone, and they do. Palmieri, had it knocked away as he tried to glove it down up the boards. He had gotten some position on Stewart, but couldn't bring the puck with him. Stewart quickly ahead. Desjardins lets it go for Kennedy, and off his stick right back to Stewart.
And a quick change as Bruce Boudreau gets the Getzlaf line over the boards.
Sammy Vatanen trying to find Getzlaf, does eventually. He curls it back for Perry, but he was flat-footed at the blue line. Getzlaf follows up. Pavelski, the Clover, Wisconsin native, tries to clear right into the glove of Getzlaf, and he rifles it across the high slot.
A good defensive play there by Kennedy, who got back off of the turnover to prevent Corey Perry from getting a good scoring chance.
He moves it ahead, and Marleau bumped hard by Vatanen. Getzlaf lays it back, and Fistrick stretches it off the stick of Perry deep into the San Jose zone. Pass brushed to center, but intercepted by Lovejoy. He's hit by Wingles as he gets it deep. Niemi gave it away to Maroon in the corner, and now spinning behind the net is Perreault, who will draw a penalty here. It's going to be on Justin Braun. Ducks get the extra attacker on. Perreault's shot gloved down and then fired towards the net. And blocked after Jackman couldn't get it to the net. Anaheim will have their second power play chance of the night when we return. Well, these two guys know one another well, and their careers so far, Brian, have almost mirrored one another.
Former teammates in the minor leagues, former roommates, actually. Great friends, Todd McClellan and Bruce Boudreau, and 2 terrific coaches. Second only to Dan Bylsma amongst active coaches in terms of the winning percentage behind the bench.
Mentioned it earlier, McClellan reached 400 games behind the San Jose Pine on Tuesday in this building. His club leads the Ducks right now 2-1. 7:45 to go, second period. Niemi sweeps one to the corner. Winnick on top of Boyle, now gets it back from behind the net in front for Cogliano. He thought he scored. Niemi was back in the net, but the puck didn't go in with him.
Yeah, a little bit of space. It's a great stop by Antti Niemi, a battling save from him. Yeah, this is Antti Niemi at his finest. Very unorthodox, gambling with that stick along the ice, and a little off balance, but manages to find a way to keep his chest high, his shoulders forward.
That's just how they draw it up, right? That's the save right there.
Yes, if you're a young goaltender, I don't recommend you going to the Antti Niemi goalie school. There's no one quite like him in the NHL, but I'll tell you what, he's a guy that is just so durable, John. It's remarkable when you look at the games that he has played in the last 3-4 seasons for San Jose.
He was a Vezina finalist. This plays offside. He was a Vezina finalist, was Niemi a year ago. He led the league in wins in the truncated season. He won 24 games, appeared in 43. Talk about that durability, Hazy. That was second most in the league a season ago. What do you think the Blackhawks think about turning away from the arbiter's decision back in August of 2010 now?
Well, they knew they had Corey Crawford in the wings, and so Crawford's also won a Stanley Cup, but it's rare when you got a guy that has won a Stanley Cup and you let him walk. It wasn't like his contract demands were outrageous.
Well, the arbiter's decision was for a one-year, $2.75 million deal. I know the Sharks are very happy that the Hawks walked away.
Well, a lot of that had to do with their cap situation overall.
Yeah, you're right.
When they walked away from that deal.
And there are some who would say it worked out pretty nicely for the Hawks, as you mentioned. A couple of Stanley Cups later. Braun shot from the line. Good traffic in front, just missed. Ringles. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he plays a physical game, and he sets up Marleau, whose quick shot is high and wide.
The issue right now for the Ducks is that they're having a tough time completing a pass, defense to forwards with any speed. And as a result, they're playing an awful lot of defense here in the second period.
Well, don't miss the upcoming Kings Ducks $10,000 poker tournament. You got plenty of time to get ready. February 20th at the San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino. $25 buy-in will get you in, and all proceeds go to the Ducks Foundation and Kings Care. Register today at ducks.nhl.com/poker. Jackman is going to be called for knocking that puck down with a high stick. So with 6:24 to go in the period, we'll have another face-off, and Maroon has a face-off of his own. Back at the other end, Jason Demers gets in his face and skates away quickly.
Yeah, well, Jason Demers looked much braver when he grabbed Andrew Cogliano than he looked on that exchange with Patrick Maroon.
Demers 6'1", 195. Maroon 6'3", 230. Some would say the numbers bear that out.
Cogliano, what, 5'9", 175?
Maybe a generous 5'10". 2-1 San Jose, just over 6 to go, second period. Loose puck to Sami Vatanen, who gets the feet moving. Brent Burns all over him, and now
that's a slash
Thornton,
on the hand.
Yeah,
from
Thornton
Burns.
joining the forecheck, and that frees the puck up. Thornton trying to get it back in front, batted out of midair by Burns, and held on to by Hiller. Well, it is physical. It is nasty. There's not much room. It is the Sharks and the Ducks.
Burns is 6'5", 230. Watch him in on the forecheck. He's getting pressure on Sami Vatanen as we roll his forward. We'll see that he gets away with a little chop on the hands, but then the reach of Burns forces the turnover. And watch this move. For a big guy, he tucks it around. Benino zips it down to Joe Thornton. And for good measure, the baseball swing, and he didn't get much of that puck, but an impressive shift for number 88, Brent Burns.
Well, you're 6'5". You can cover a lot of ground with your hockey stick with that long reach that Brent Burns has. Burns, since he got back in the lineup for the Sharks, now with 7 points in 5 games. Valesky out of the corner in the San Jose zone, sets up Lindholm. He puts it down low. Behind the net, it's Matthew Perreault. Valesky, he get hit hard in the corner there by Demers, and good to see him bounce back up as he rejoins the play. Perreault behind the net, falling to his knees. As he served it back out high was Palmieri. And now McCarthy, who's been a little used tonight, will backhand at the length of the ice. No icing, though. Oh, it will be icing. Boy, it trickled through the crease and just wide. Jonas Hiller lets it go, so the Sharks unable to make changes.
It used to be icing would be waved off whenever the puck went through the blue paint, but not anymore. It's got to go on the net. So offensive zone face-off here for the Ducks. You look out there and you see Desjardins kind of bent over the face-off circle. The stick was on his knees moments ago, so he's a little bit tired, and now he's going to get tossed from the face-off circle.
So
he's trying to buy some time. That's all he's doing here to get his breath.
So Mike Brown steps in, and Koivu wins the draw. Vatanen does a good job to keep it in. Fistrick sends it to the net. Desjardins blocked it, but Vatanen will hold it in again. Around the boards, Koivu had it eluding behind the net. It goes straight up in the air off of Desjardins, and Mike Brown battling it to the line. Fistrick holds it in. Koivu pressures Demers, who moves it around to the near side, and it does elude Vatanen. And we'll come all the way back. Another icing call, and I would think Todd McClellan, again unable to get this line off the ice, may consider his timeout now.
Yep.
In the
He's thinking about it.
In the meantime, we'll remind you, you can be at Honda Center this Tuesday. It is the first edition of the Freeway Face-Off this season as the Ducks and Kings get together. All fans will receive a pair of Ducks Thunder Sticks presented by Dollar Loan Center. Get a $2,500 signature loan at one of our 23 bank-style locations. We are.
The Lightning got to drop the puck here. I mean, the referee, Getzlaf saying to the referees, you either get in the face-off circle. Oh, boy, here we go.
And now Demers, I believe, may be bleeding here, so they'll get to make one change. But that one change works in the favor of the other four guys on the ice. It's Braun who will spell him, and Getzlaf to oppose Desjardins. Getzlaf puts it right on net off the draw. To the corner goes Penner, trying to dig it free for Perry. Braun knocks it loose, and Desjardins tries to skate it out of the zone. Again, he lobs it back, and he gets a good spin on it. Fowler is there, no icing, and the Sharks try to change and do. Fowler gets it back from Getzlaf. He's in full flight. Into the San Jose zone, hits the brakes, tried to get it to the front of the net. It ricochets off the end boards to Penner. Lovejoy's drive is blocked by Couture, and back he comes with McCarthy. Logan Couture has one of the two San Jose goals tonight as he chips it in, goes around Lovejoy. Marleau, who has the other fans on the shot, as he was set up by Wingels. Getzlaf stick handles into the zone and drops it off for Perry. Back to the captain. Ducks making changes. Vatanen off the bench, jumps to the high slot, now retreats defensively. Wingels intercepts down low. Penner swats it away. Perry gives it back to him. Late two-man game down low, and Perry in front for Getzlaf off his stick. He stays with it as Braun is all over it. Perry uses his body to shield it from Wingels. Gets it to Penner. Penner back in front. Perry knifes it to Vatanen, who got it to Getzlaf. Oh, and that's blocked in front. Went straight up in the air, and again, Niemi didn't know where it was. Perry took it away from Couture. And now it's dug out. Oh, Perry tries to stuff it on the wraparound.
Whistle. Are you kidding me?
We got a slashing penalty coming up here, and I think it's on Corey Perry while Penner falls into the back of the net. And that's the reason they blew the whistle. They called the slash on Perry as Fistrick tries to get in there.
Penner on Marc-Edouard Vlasic in behind. See if we can pick up the slash by Perry. I don't see it. Justin Penner discussing things with the linesman. He was all over Vlasic. Here's where the puck, there's the chop on the hands of Corey Perry, but I didn't see a penalty call at that point, John.
No, that you can see play goes on.
Play goes on. There was no whistle, and then Corey Perry digs it out, brings it to the front of the net, and then they called the slash against Perry. I mean, it was a slash. There was no question about it.
Penner just wants his helmet back, and the linesman doesn't want to let him get it.
Well, here's the play. Watch Corey Perry right there. There's the chop on the hands, and that's a penalty. There's no question about it.
But he touches and plays the puck. So does Penner.
Yeah, there was no call at that point. When Perry dug it out of the scrum, the whistle had not blown.
Yeah, Van Massenhoven was right there. He did not have the call. It came from the backside official there.
I'm not debating the call. It was a slash by Corey Perry. I'm wondering why play was allowed to continue for so long. Here's a high look and see if we can pick it up.
There's the slash.
There's the slash. And there's, he sees the reaction of Couture, and then he raises the arm. But I don't understand why it took him so long to blow the darn whistle.
Now do we get any supplemental justice off the fracas behind the net as 3:21 remains in the period? Did they call the Penner-Vlasic tete-to-tete an altercation? If so, they'll go to their respective locker rooms. If they get 5 for fighting, let's listen in.
2 minutes for slashing. The play is dead behind the net, so no goal.
Well, that really wasn't under a great deal of question, but Perry is the only one sitting in the penalty box. I don't know if there were any other calls off of that, but what it does result in is another San Jose power play, their 4th of the night. Sharks able to keep it in as Boyle walks the line, fakes the shot, now spins with it. Boyle hands it off to Thornton. He whips it right in, and a big rebound is there for Marleau. He gets a second stab at it over top.
Great puck recoveries from San Jose. They're just so big down low.
Pavelski shot just wide through a couple of Duck defenders. Boyle again holds it at the line, a bouncing puck. And unable to get the handle on it was Fowler. Quick puck movement from the Sharks.
And penalty killers are gassed at this point.
Couture gives it back to Thornton, now to Boyle. Looking for a shooting lane. Instead, he'll skate it to the half wall. Quickly in front for Couture, who just missed.
It's that same play to the left of Hiller they've been setting up on the power play.
That one tipped by Marleau. Knocked down by Pavelski as again Fowler can't clear the zone, and Anaheim can't get changes on the penalty kill. This one's blocked. Good job to block the shot down low there by Lovejoy, and Hiller able to cover up.
Great job by Jonas Hiller. Not only to stop that puck, but to freeze it. His teammates were just gassed. There was the original save by Hiller with the right leg, and then he battles across to get there for the bid by Patrick Marleau. Great job, great goaltending from Hiller. He gave one up in this period, but he is keeping his team in this game right now.
Burns to take the face-off against Getzlaf. Have not seen Brett Burns take a whole lot of face-offs for this club, but he wins that one. Vlasic across the top with Demers. Burns sets up in the high slot, and a glove save by Hiller on the one-timer from Jason Demers.
Yeah, no problem for Jonas Hiller on that shot. No traffic in front. Watch Marty Havlat. He will not be able to get into the shooting lane, and Mark Fistrick does the right thing. Get the heck out of the way. Let your goaltender make the stop.
Shots 27-17 in favor of the Sharks, who lead it 2-1. They've scored both of their goals here in the second. Vlasic spins it around. Half a minute to go, and the man advantage for San Jose. Demers holds on the far side. Hurdle off the half wall. Gets it back from Havlat to Demers. One-timer skips wide. Vlasic trying to move it back up the boards. A good read by Vatanen, who stepped in front. Chops it away from Havlat, and Getzlaf will serve it all the way down. Final 5 seconds of the penalty to Corey Perry. And now Vlasic from behind the San Jose net. Sends it ahead off the stick of Mike Brown. Some rare power play time for him, and it's chipped back. Here's Cogliano with speed, joined by Perry out of the box. Trying to get it over to Perreault, who lost the handle of the stick, trying to reach for it. Just over a minute to go in the period. Martin Havlat the other way. Takes it wide. Fowler keeps him wide. Tries to center. That went off the skate of Fowler and across. Hannon got it to the front of the net. It's there for Havlat. He scores.
That's a big goal for San Jose. Comes late in the period. And Marty Havlat, who has been playing better as of late, notches goal number 2 of the season. The Ducks can't battle that puck out, and Havlat collects the rebound and shows great patience. Hiller, look at the two players in front of Hiller. He can't locate the puck. He has no idea that Havlat is coming in late. And he is just going to hang on to it and go wide and lift it into the back of the net. And this has been an exhausting period for the Ducks, John. They have played virtually the entire period in their end.
They've been outshot 16-9 in the period. Havlat, who missed 13 games recovering from off-season pelvic surgery, has points in 3 straight games. Brown and Hannon will draw the assists at 19:03. And a goal in the final minute of the period puts the Ducks down a pair now. Fistrick down low, along with Lindholm. And the Ducks able to clear the zone. Vlasic plays it across. Palmieri bumping with Wingels, wins the puck, and carries into the San Jose zone, only to be denied at the line. Ducks will get a change in the waning seconds of the period as Justin Braun starts from behind his own goal. Vlasic's pass tipped in by McCarthy. Pavelski to the corner. 5 seconds to go in the period as McCarthy gets it back to Stewart. His shot is blocked. Perry gets to it. Would be 2-on-1 with Getzlaf. But the Ducks run out of racetrack as the horn sounds in the background.
You know, this has been a game where I think Anaheim's defense is just wearing down, John. I'm looking at the ice time for Cam Fowler. He's almost at 20 minutes. Ben Lovejoy's at 15.5 minutes. And the pressure of the San Jose Sharks is becoming a factor in this game.
It was 1-0 Anaheim after one. But the Ducks find themselves trailing by a pair after two. Some near misses, to say the least. But the Sharks find the back of the net 3 times in the middle frame, and their lead is 3-1 after two. All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Anaheim Ducks is expressly prohibited. It's a 3-1 lead for the Sharks after 2 periods of play in Northern California. And before we start the third period of play, we look back with tonight's AT&T Rewind. We go to the start of the second period, and the Ducks came oh so close, only to come up empty.
That would have been 2-0. If Corey Perry puts it in, or if Cam Fowler puts it in, 2-0. Moments later, the point shot from Marc-Edouard Vlasic, redirected by Logan Couture, and the Sharks were off and running.
Couture with a goal, Marleau with a goal, Thornton has an assist. Marleau has added an assist as well. It just kind of seems like the same guys whenever you come up here to San Jose, but the Sharks have done a nice job over the years integrating different players into their core. Remember, Hazy, they came out of the gate last season, San Jose, like gangbusters. Looked like world beaters, and maybe this was their year to go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Then they mired through a slump, about 18 games where they only won 5 times. And they were very active at the trade deadline. A team that almost looked like they were trying to change their makeup in mid-season, or mid-stride, if you will.
Yeah, they let players like Douglas Murray go. The players that were, seen as being a little bit slower afoot. Ryan Clo's gone. Scott Gomez is gone. They've been replaced with younger, quicker players. Hurdle has been a revelation for them.
Ducks put it into the San Jose zone to begin the third period. Havlat trying to chop it out. Winnick keeps it in. Cogliano battling, but Brad Stewart moves it up and out. Tipped into the middle of the ice, and here's Marty Havlat. He has one of the 3 goals tonight. The give and go goes off of him on the return pass from Pavelski, and right through the middle of the ice, Koivu pressures as Boyle goes back to get it. Dan Boyle chips it into his own bench. One of only 4 undrafted defensemen in NHL history to reach 500 points in his career. Dan Boyle came out of the University of Miami of Ohio, unheralded to say the least, signed as a free agent by the Florida Panthers, then was traded for a very low round draft pick to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and as they say, Brian, the rest from there is history.
Remember when Marty St. Louis played his 1,000th game as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. He made mention of the fact that Dan Boyle was a guy that has had a career not unlike Martin St. Louis, an undrafted player who's been around and has been an impact player, an all-star caliber player in their careers.
Boyle plays so much for these Sharks, and he's been their leading scoring defenseman ever since he came over from Tampa Bay. Here's Perry from Fowler right into the middle, and unable to get the handle as it was a little behind him. Off the deflection was Benner.
Yeah, too bad. That was a good rush up ice.
Perry wins a puck down low, takes it behind the net. Tries to force it in front. Marleau deflected that, and Vlasic will scale it up the glass and back into the Anaheim zone. Cam Fowler, the ice time leader for the Ducks this season, sends it ahead and heads to the bench for a change. The Sharks trying to quick up, but Burns couldn't get the handle at the line, so he's forced to dump it in. Hiller will leave it behind the net. Fistrick trying to work it around to the near side. Burns denied. Brent Burns sticks his butt out and gets position in front as he and Fistrick were bumping. Now comes to the near boards, whips it quickly wide on the short side. Demers keeps it in. Good shift for the top line here as Hurdle takes it off his skate, takes a hit, fired it just wide. Puck pinballs back as Demers' shot went off of Hiller, off a duck, and then off of a Shark. Palmieri falls and gets back up Or they have it poked off his stick at the line. And offside is the call as Perreault plays it inside the stripe.
The Sharks back on the attack. Two assistant coaches for San Jose working with Todd McLellan. There's Jimmy Johnson and, of course, the great Larry Robinson, the other assistant. I was fortunate enough to play with both of them. Jimmy Johnson is a real good offensive-minded defenseman, and Larry Robinson, of course, one of the greatest ever to play. And they have had an incredible impact on this San Jose team. I could not believe, John, watching the morning skate, just how loose the Sharks are in practice. It was an optional skate for them today. They're just having fun right now, and nobody has more fun than Larry Robinson. Was able to sit in a stall next to Larry for 4 years in Montreal, and boy, did he have a knack for getting players to relax.
A wise man once told me, Brian, winners laugh and tell jokes, right?
They do that indeed.
Sharks have won 4 straight and 7 of their last 8 coming into tonight.
I think those two guys have really changed the mood around here. And when you think about the Sharks, you've always heard about what a laid-back guy Joe Thornton is and how much fun he likes to have. This is a team where they really seem well-suited with the 2 additions back of their bench. Two guys that like to have a little bit of fun, and it is sure working for Todd McLellan and his group.
Well, it is a game, right?
Sometimes we lose sight
I think
of that
you're right.
fact when winning is all that really matters.
Just over 2 minutes into the third period, 3-1, the Sharks have the lead. And the Koivu line out for Bruce Boudreau's club as they have an offensive zone face-off to the right of Niemi. And Koivu won it back for Winnick, and it just slips off the end of his blade. Lobbed back, and Fowler will get there before icing can be called. He rims it hard around. Winnick got a touch on it, but didn't get it out of the zone. Lovejoy did. Cogliano into the middle of the ice. Koivu finds Winnick across the line on right wing. Fakes the shot, then stick handles and backhands it around. Fowler gets it to the net. Oh, wide open was Koivu, and it just hopped off his stick. He had a 4x6 to shoot at. Winnick from behind the net. Out for Lovejoy with a drive. That's off of Niemi and into the netting above the high glass.
No, the Ducks had some chances. Saku Koivu just back into the lineup for his second game. Going to get this puck, and he's got room. Can he corral that puck? No, it hits his stick blade and kind of explodes, pops up into the air. And that's too bad. Anaheim had a couple of glorious opportunities on that shift. Good shift for Andrew Cogliano. Saku Koivu playing, I asked Bruce Boudreau what he thought of Koivu in his first game back, and he said, you know what, he's starting to get a little bit tired, which is to be expected as the game moved along. Didn't play a ton against the Calgary Flames because of the score. Boudreau was able to really go deep into his bench.
Yeah, Saku told me after the game yesterday, he said his legs felt a little heavy early in the game as Couture comes in and a glove save by Hiller.
Again, well defended by Hampus Lindholm. It's a 2-on-1 break. Couture's a left-handed shot. Marleau is jumping into the open ice. And Lindholm goes right to Marleau and makes sure that cross-ice pass can't reach him. And I tell you what, as the goaltender on this play, you'll happily, on a 2-on-1, take a shot from the face-off dot. And Hiller has no problem snaring it with the right hand.
Boyle shot redirected right on. Hiller made the save, put right back into the goal crease by Thornton. Boyle across the top. Thornton tries to bring it across the high slot and then slaps it down low for Tomas Hertl. 20-year-old native of the Czech Republic, just turned 20, Hertl. Stewart angles it off the end boards, and Hiller wisely there to freeze it. Well, they say you can't go back, but you can step back to your senior year this December 13th and join the Ducks at Servite High School for the 2014 Anaheim Ducks Casino Night High School Prom. It's presented by our good friends, the Klein family. Get your tickets at anaheimducks.com/casino night.
I can only imagine the tuxedo that Mr. K will be wearing that evening.
Is there time for us to regrow the mullets? Senior year, I don't know. I don't think my hair grows quite as fast.
Not for you and I. Not for you and I, Tyler.
Winnick into the zone. Finds Fowler coming late, and again at the far post it was Koivu. And maybe the timing a touch off as he wasn't able to connect. Fisker draws the defender. Kennedy sends it around the boards. Kennedy knocks it out of midair with a high stick, but it's next played by the Ducks, so play on. Cogliano ahead. ahead to Koivu. Cross ice, he finds Winnick. Drop pass for Fistrick on his backhand, put it right into the goal crease. Cogliano falls down, it comes back out. Oh boy. A lot of traffic in front of Niemi, and Cogliano Koivu put it right on.
Well, they've had a few chances here in the early going. The Koivu line, Cam Fowler trying to get that puck across to Koivu just to his right a little bit. And then at the end of the shift, Koivu again takes the shot. No problem that time for Antti Niemi. And they're not known as a line that's going to generate an awful lot. Primarily, their responsibility is to shut down the opposing lines. But given the score, they have to change their focus here in the third period.
Vlasic misses on the pass, but first man on it is Marleau. Boy, there's that great speed on display. Patrick Marleau again. Down low, Tommy Wingels steps out in front. The Evanston, Illinois native got it on goal, and hugging the post and protecting the short side was Hiller. Oh, again, it skips back through the crease. Couture tracks it to the corner, and Grant clears up the boards and out. Braun measures the situation and slowly rims it around the boards. Mike Brown is there to get to it. Brown assisted on the second San Jose goal, or I should say the third San Jose goal, excuse me, for Martin Havlat. Picks up his first assist as a Shark.
And Brown is running around on this shift.
Puck pitchforked out by Perreault. And now he retreats into his own zone along with Grant.
An adjustment as this game has moved along where Perreault and Bonino have essentially swapped lines in this game.
Perreault's pass is off the skate of Jackman. And Brad Stewart, the veteran, chips it ahead. Vatanen whips it across for Fistrick, who returns the favor, and Thornton is there to pressure. Bonino has center red as he rims it around and in, and Niemi will play it back. Maroon chases. Bonino comes up into the middle. Palmieri fanned on it as the pass was a touch behind him, and Hurdle was pressuring. Boyle drops it for Hurdle. It's a little behind him. Burns feeds it down low.
Look at him protect the puck. Tomas Hurdle.
Demers shot goes off of Palmieri, skips across to Bolesky, and he gets the legs moving. Ducks changing as it's swatted away at the line, and they're careful not to play it for fear of too many men on the ice. Bonino gets it off the boards into the middle as Fowler joins the rush, and it's onside with Bolesky. Long shot gobbled up by Niemi, and he will hold on. We are where we began the third period, 3-1 Sharks. The save of the game is brought to you by Chamberlain, and don't get fixated on the post shot. Watch the actual save here.
Yeah, Corey Perry thinks he is a wide open net, and he can't believe it as Niemi robs him with the left hand. That's clean living on the part of Antti Niemi.
Perry, incidentally, has the Ducks goal in this game, his team-leading 15th of the season. Since then, Niemi's been perfect. 19 saves tonight for the Finnish native. Face-off in the Sharks zone. Bouncing puck in the high slot, and Demers able to sweep it out on the backhand. Vatanen has to regroup in the neutral zone. And now it's Lindholm. Can't sneak his pass ahead for Cogliano, but he'll track it. Hannon reverses it away.
You can see Boudreau with the combination of Lindholm and Vatanen. You know that they have been given the green light to join the attack.
He's put together a couple of D pairs that he wants to move up on the play. The other, of course, Fowler and Lovejoy have been together most of the year. And the Sharks just use the glass to clear, and this one will not go far enough for icing as Vatanen looks up ice. San Jose changing. Vatanen motors to the far side of the ice, and Getzlaf with a strike ahead for Penner off the wing. Niemi will reel it back in and cover it up.
And Penner just looking essentially to create any kind of a bounce off of the goaltender, but Niemi able to drop to his knees and corral that. Penner, Perry, Getzlaf have been very good in this game. But you look at the score sheet right now, and they are minus tonight. So the Couture line has had the better of them so far in this hockey game, at least statistically.
Long way to go. Still over 12 minutes left as the puck comes high in the slot, and Getzlaf fans on it as he tried to make a pass. He keeps it in momentarily at the line. Couture clears off the stick of Wingles. Fowler being tracked by Marlowe, hits the brakes and moves it around. Perry up the boards with a careful play. Getzlaf takes the hit. Lovejoy picks up the puck. Braun stretches him wide. Penner gets it through. Boy, a lot of traffic in Niemi with a good stick save. Now it's Braun leading the rush. The defenseman joined by Wingles. Can't track it down deep in the zone, and Getzlaf fires it across Lovejoy. Long stretch pass off Perry's stick, and the Ducks will change. Stewart ahead to Thornton, who backs into Lindholm. Grant off the boards, misses Palmieri. No icing as they'll go back after it. Palmieri and Boyle. Bonino joins the fray, and Stewart is there to support. Brad Stewart, the former Detroit Red Wing, trying to just feather it up the boards, didn't get it out. Bolesky held it in. Bonino gets a piece, gets it back, and then Stewart ties his stick up. Well, Stewart was skiing on Bonino. He had so much pressure down on the shaft of his stick. Bolesky rolls it in. Boyle trying to buy time as the Sharks finish changes, and Mike Brown hit by Jackman. Those two haven't been too far apart most of the night. Icing the call here against San Jose.
Yeah, you can see what Boudreau has done here. He saw Mike Brown running around a couple of shifts. He wanted to make sure that he got Jackman and Maroon over the boards. The next time that Brown got on the ice, he was able to do that. Now he's got an offensive zone faceoff. I think he is going to stick with Jackman, Maroon, and Perreault here.
Hasn't been a lot of ice time for this line so far tonight. And Perreault wins the faceoff. Vatanen had to hold at the line, got tied up by Brown, and here comes McCarthy. 1-on-2 into the Anaheim zone, and he can't filter the shot through Fister. He gets it out front. Desjardins never got the shot away as Jackman battles into the corner and comes away with it. It's center red, but can't get it into the San Jose zone, and now transition. Brown carries in and feeds it below the goal line. The rest of his mates were changing behind the play. Room for Fowler up the left side. Into the San Jose zone, he winds and fires off the stick of Braun. Vlasic plays it around. Winnick keeps it in. Braun will try the near side. Halfway through the third period in San Jose, as his pass doesn't make it to Havlat, Pavelski follows up. Across the line for Tyler Kennedy, pulls it in, and that's high in the air off the stick of Hiller. Lovejoy loses it, and Kennedy finds Braun. Justin Braun misses on the short side with a wrist shot, and Pavelski recovers. Vlasic doesn't have a shooting lane. Braun into the middle for Havlat. Cuts against the grain. Drifts out high in the zone. Pavelski keeps it alive. Ducks need a change.
Well, this defensive tandem has just been on the ice so much, John.
Cargliano chips it in, and they will change. Excuse me, Brian.
No, they just don't have the energy. I mean, you can see it. The shift length now, once they get 30 seconds into a shift, the legs are already pretty weary.
This is icing again on the Sharks. So 9:09 to go in the third period. Anaheim still down a pair as the big line out there. Getzlaf, Perry, and Penner with Lindholm and Vatanen in the face-off to the left of Niemi.
They've had chances in the third period. They've played a solid third period so far. Some near misses. A couple of mishandles at the moment of truth in front of Antti Niemi.
Getzlaf wins the draw, puts it on net, in and out of the glove of Niemi. He will cover up. So the Ducks still looking for the proximity goal. Still over 9 minutes to go in San Jose.
Joe Thornton took a puck in the face earlier in the game. If he tilts his head, you'll be able to see the right eye. I thought he just took stitches to the bridge of his nose, but you can see some stitches in the right eyelid. So that was a very close call for Joe Thornton, and I would be shocked if that eye isn't completely closed.
He's testing it. See that? He's checking. He's closing the good eye now, trying to see what he can see.
Yeah.
You don't get to 1,151 NHL games played at age 34 if you don't play through some stuff, though. And add that to Thornton's list along the way. Hazy, I haven't mentioned it tonight, but how do you trade Joe Thornton?
You have mentioned that several times.
It's come up over over time, I know, but I guess I haven't had a sufficient answer.
Well, you know what? You touched on it earlier in the broadcast. When you look at the San Jose Sharks, Dan Boyle, Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, all with expiring contracts at the end of this season. I guess if you're Doug Wilson, the general manager, it's actually very good news that now that the Canadian television rights deal has been signed, there is a huge expectation that the cap is going to go up for next year. And it would have to go up a lot if Wilson is going to be able to sign those three gentlemen.
You get the feeling, too, it's a little bit of the elephant in the room in San Jose. No one's talking about it. It's not a story here. But maybe the franchise is taking a wait-and-see attitude right now because, you want to see how they perform in the final year of their contracts. We've mentioned that Marleau and Thornton, 34 years of age. Dan Boyle a little longer in the tooth as he's 37. He'll be 38 in the offseason next year. So I guess you can afford to take that wait-and-see attitude if you're the Sharks. Fowler from out of the Anaheim zone. Cross ice to Palmieri, and he'll flip it in.
The other thing, too, is that this San Jose team has been a team that for many years people have expected to go a long, long way in the playoffs, and it just hasn't really materialized for them.
Is the window closing? We've heard it for a number of years that many of the pundits think it is closing here in San Jose. They've got to prove they can do it in the playoffs. Their regular seasons have been as good as any.
The Ducks are playing well here in the third period, and they are getting some chances on Antti Niemi.
Bonino strides in on left wing, draws two defenders, gets it back to Grant, who gets it to the net, up in the air, and into the net! It went right over Niemi, and for about the third or fourth time tonight, he lost sight of the puck.
He just boxed this. He reached across his body to try and catch it with his left hand, and then when it hit him, it popped right up in the air. I think this is going to be Alex Grant's goal.
Yep, the Ducks.
They grab the puck.
Perreault gets the puck for him. This is going to be his first NHL goal.
And they're right back in the game. This is not a very good goal for Niemi to give up. I mean, you could see that Stewart, I think, may have distracted his goaltender. But this is, from long range, just snap towards the net. It's off of Niemi's hand. See how he kind of reaches across his body with the left hand? If you don't have all the time in the world as a goaltender to do that. That's what the blocker is for. You deflect it into the corner. Don't catch a puck on that side of your body unless you're 100% sure.
Suddenly 3-2, and Koivu angles it out of the Anaheim zone. Plenty of time to go. Just under 7 minutes left in San Jose. First NHL goal of the year, or first NHL goal, I should say, for Alex Grant, who has 6 at the American League level. He's third in the AHL amongst defensemen in goal scoring. And the lone assist, or excuse me, 2 assists. They'll give one to Bonino and the other will go to Fowler at 12:50, and the Ducks find themselves one shot away. Wingels follows up as he dumps it into the Anaheim zone and tries to curl away from Fistric. San Jose finishes a change. Vlasic gets a shot towards the net, and it's held by Hiller.
I think it's in the equipment of Sammy Vatanen.
It's in someone's equipment.
And never gets through. It actually goes into the pants, so great moment. Congratulations to Alex Grant, who caught career NHL goal number 1.
Well, he got the shot away quickly. I don't think we saw the big-time shot we've been told about, but he got it to the net quickly. They don't ask how, they ask how many. And for Grant, in one NHL game, the answer is 1. The Nova Scotia native gives the Ducks life here with now 6 minutes to play. Fistric battles it up and out of the zone. Maroon can't follow any further with it. Now he'll be the lead man on the forecheck. Couture with a redirect deep into the Anaheim zone, and Vatanen, pressured by 2 Shark forecheckers, puts it around the boards. Vlasic able to hold it in.
And Boudreau, sensing that Dustin Penner might be a little tired, John, gets Patrick Maroon out for a shift with the big line.
Behind the net, Burns all over Vatanen.
Wow.
Flushed him, and he's able to, from the seat of his pants, move it back to the near side. Maroon with speed as he hits the San Jose line. Sealed off by Demers, and Hurdle. Up the glass, doesn't clear. Fowler quickly got it to the net. Oh, just wide. Again to Lovejoy. He just missed. Suddenly a shooting gallery in the San Jose zone as Fowler keeps it alive. Perry curls off the boards, brings it into the middle off the skate of Getzlaf. He'll reach to the near boards to get it back. Finds Lovejoy. His shot got through. Big traffic as Maroon is sent careening, and Niemi holds on. It's getting interesting at the SAP Center. Now a one-goal game. It's out on Miller Time, as always brought to you by our good friends at Miller Lite.
And it's going to be the Alex Grant goal, his first of his NHL career. Antti Niemi loses the handle on that one, has it bounce off of his back and into the net. And Matthew Perreault retrieves the puck for Alex Grant.
A big moment in his NHL debut for the young man. Former Pittsburgh Penguin draft pick. Grant was acquired by the Ducks in the offseason for Harry Zolnarchuk. Grant was selected in the 4th round back in 2007 by the Penguins. Spent 4 years playing in the Quebec League. And this is a night he'll never forget.
He just played just under 10 minutes. And with the Ducks, you have to admire the effort here in the third period, John. They have battled to stay alive in this one.
Lovejoy overskates it, then it ricochets into the high slot, and Burns careful to curl with it out of his own zone. Thornton at the line, chips it in, and Fowler pressured by Burns as he turns to the end boards with it.
That's a great play by Cam Fowler. The way he protects that puck, tucks it into his feet.
Sharks get it deep and roll a change down to 4.5 to go in San Jose. 3-2 San Jose. The Ducks led 1-0 at one point in this one. Bouncing puck won't settle for Koivu. And then Havlat has it stripped away by Cogliano at the line. Koivu leads it into the San Jose zone, following up his Winnick as he tries to support on a bouncing puck. Demers chased by Cogliano, gets a little piece of it. Grant pinches up the wall to keep the play in. Koivu chases behind the net, and it's cleared out by Justin Braun. Grant back to get it. Both teams going for changes. He leads it ahead to Winnick, protecting through the neutral zone, gains the line. Getzlaf on the right boards, finds a wide open Lindholm. His shot off the stick of a Shark defender, Couture. It ends up in the corner. Again, setting up Getzlaf as Winnick.
I'll tell you what, the goaltender, Niemi, was completely off balance. Tough call at the blue line. Puck just crosses, and so it's offside. Getzlaf took that shot. I don't know what Niemi was doing, but he appeared to be leaning completely towards his left. That's on net. It's in.
There's been such good traffic in front of Niemi at times in this third period. There's been some shots that I'm not sure he saw.
Yeah, it was his own player, Hannon, but you see he doesn't really push into the puck.
Hiller settles it for Fowler with 3:20 to play in the game. Shots have evened up as the Ducks have had the better of the play here in the third. Now 33-27 in favor of San Jose. Getzlaf gains the line, drops it off for Fowler in front. Off the skate of Perry and smothered by Niemi.
This is interesting. Corey Perry's stick is tied up. And remember, you cannot direct the puck in with a distinct kicking motion. But watch the way Perry, the top of your screen, breaking to the front of the net, gets his stick tied up there, and then he's just going to use his feet to try and redirect that puck in behind Antti Niemi. Niemi does a good job getting his body close to the attacking Anaheim forward.
Tough night in the face-off circle for Nick Bonino as he'll oppose Pavelski. Pavelski, top 10 in the league in the face-off circle this year, but he loses this one. Lovejoy scores!
Wow, what a shot!
Oh, Bonino picked a good time to win a face-off.
Boy, did he ever. And Lovejoy settles that puck down before snapping a wrist shot. And the key is the traffic. Watch Bonino. Pavelski screaming at the linesman for dropping that puck. Matt Bolesky goes to the front of the net, and Antti Niemi never picks it up. Watch Bolesky. Just kind of spins, and at that exact moment, Ben Lovejoy picks the top corner And the Ducks have clawed their way back. Boy, what a great third period here for Anaheim.
That's the first goal for Ben Lovejoy as a Duck.
His first goal of the season.
Came over from Pittsburgh last season and in 32 games had 10 assists. That's his first goal this year in 27 games. So 59 games in an Anaheim sweater, and Lovejoy has his first goal. And what a big goal it was. Now Bonino brings it back in, hands it off to Perreault. His shot partially blocked, goes wide off of Hurdle, and Niemi freezes it as it came off the end boards.
New line combination here from Bruce Boudreau as he shortens his bench. He gets two centers out on the ice at the same time with Bonino and Perreault along with Matt Bolesky.
Nick Bonino has 2 assists, both coming here in the third period for Anaheim. And he's got a little mini scoring streak of his own going, as he now has points in the last 4 games. A goal and 4 assists to be exact, as Winnick weaving in the right corner, sends it back to the net, and Niemi calmly holds it in his glove as Koivu was trying to run the interference.
Confidence is such a fragile thing at times, but right now you see the Ducks have got it. They're just throwing pucks to the front of the net. They're looking for a bounce. And how about this Anaheim team, John, that the beginning of the year could not get a goal from a defenseman, and now here they get a goal from Lovejoy and a goal from Grant to draw even with San Jose.
Puck back into the San Jose zone as Boyle hands it across for Stewart. Rink wide. Kennedy takes it off his skate, has time, and spins it around and in. 2:05 to go in regulation, tied at 3 in San Jose. This game has had some ebbs and flows, to say the least. Fistrick comes up from the back end and just chips it deep as Anaheim finishes a change. Braun out of the corner, pressured off the glass and away to center. Fowler will settle it at his own stripe. He and Lovejoy paired together. And they hinge it back. Fowler gets center red up on the glass and in. Vlasic to the corner, and Perry pestering him. And he's not going to quit. He'll chase the puck behind the goal. And here's the home run pass broken up. Nice play by Lovejoy. Marleau gets it back on the near boards. Penner leans into him. Over comes Perry into the middle of the ice. The Sharks once more have it, and Marleau sends it in. Wingles after it. Lovejoy reverses it. Penner, one hand on the stick, just jabs it away, and now does clear. This over the head of Braun. And, oh boy, they call icing.
Linesman was waiting to see if that puck had enough steam on it to trickle over the line. Remember, both coaches have not used a timeout, and I think Bruce Boudreau is going to use his right here.
Yeah, he just signal for it.
And you know what? You think about it, it's a way for Boudreau to keep the big line on the ice for essentially the last 2 minutes of this game.
And he's protecting the point. I mean, you take into consideration you were down 3-1 with less than 10 minutes to go on the road against a team that's only lost once in regulation in their building.
Todd McClellan very animated in behind the San Jose bench.
Does not look pleased.
Well, the Sharks have been on their heels in the third period. Anaheim has carried the play to San Jose, and it's almost like they've played too carefully, and it has come back to bite them. But a minute 7, tough night in the face-off circle, as you mentioned, John, and a huge face-off coming up. Getzlaf opposing Joe Thornton.
Anaheim has outshot the Sharks 12-5 in the third period, really turning the tables on San Jose after they dominated in that second period of play. And this one says a lot about intestinal fortitude to this point. Tied at 3, 67 seconds left in regulation. Getzlaf to oppose Thornton in the ring to the left of Hiller. Thornton goes and gets it himself, but can't get it to the net. And an alley-oop pass is batted down by a high stick, and Penner follows up into the San Jose zone. Burns gets it back and whips it around and in. Hiller gets a piece of it, stops it, and leaves it on the back of the net.
That's a big stop for Jonas Hiller.
Lovejoy gets it up the boards. Braun holds it in. Mishandled by Vlasic. He'll just send it around. Hurdle behind the net. Keeps it moving. Burns shot blocked by Getzlaf, who gave him no space. Thornton loses a stick, and Lovejoy jumps up on the play. 3-on-2 of the Ducks if they hurry, but he's at the end of his shift, and he'll get center red and get it deep.
Smart play. Lovejoy just gets that center red line. We got icing coming up here.
Against the Sharks will be whistled with 18.5 remaining in the third period.
Offensive zone face-off. Saku Koivu has been the best center iceman for the Ducks tonight. Anaheim doing a better job in the third period. Remember, they'd lost 2/3 of the face-offs through the first two periods.
That's been their best period.
But they've been about the 500 mark, and another big one here with Koivu.
And he's beaten on the draw by Couture. Rimmed around, and a weird bounce into the middle. Cogliano sends it to the net off the stick of Vlasic. He's crashed into by Winnick and just stays on top of the puck, trying to milk the clock. 5 seconds left, and the Sharks will clear. This one is over the glass, but deflected.
Oh, boy.
Off the stick of Cogliano is the ruling.
Yep, backside official made the call immediately. Braun being pressured. Yeah, Koivu and Cogliano, or excuse me, providing the pressure.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Cogliano tries to sell it, but the referees say no way.
So 1.7 seconds is what remains. They'll drop the puck at neutral ice, and it appears as if we will have bonus hockey tonight in San Jose, and that is the case. The Ducks score twice in the final half of the third period to force overtime. Alex Grant's first NHL goal, and then Ben Lovejoy. Overtime when we return. Brian, remember when the Ducks couldn't get any goal production from their blue line? Well, they got it tonight, and it was very timely.
Sure was. Take a look at it. Alex Grant is going to score his first career NHL goal. It's a knuckleball that gets away from Antti Niemi, and then a big face-off win for Bonino. Pileski providing the screen. And what a gritty effort this was for the Ducks. They looked dead in the water to me at the end of that second period. There was not much energy left. They'd spent a lot of time killing penalties in this hockey game. And goals from unexpected sources. 2 goals in the last 8 minutes to force overtime. Grant getting his first NHL goal in his first NHL game. And then Lovejoy scoring his first goal as a Duck in his 59th game since coming over from the Pittsburgh Penguins. So indeed, unexpected production. And we go to overtime this season. In the 5-minute overtime, the Sharks are 2-1, as are the Ducks. Both teams have earned a point. These two teams came in to the game combined 14-1-2 in division games this season, so we probably shouldn't be surprised that neither one of them wants to give 2 points to the other. And we're 4-on-4 as Boyle has it hop his stick and he goes back to get it. The ever-mobile defenseman circles the net, measures things, and gives it to Brad Stewart. He'll drive wide on left wing, now in behind the goal. There's Thornton cutting off the near wing, and the pass went behind him. Boyle keeps it alive. Thornton into the high slot. Drops it off. Stewart stops and fires high and wide. Bonino did a good job getting in that shooting lane.
Off the stick of Boyle, comes back out center ice. And now both teams try to get changes. Collision in the neutral zone as Marleau ran into Getzlaf.
Yeah, Marleau. There's been some picks being set at the offensive blue line. Getzlaf has made mention of that to the referees. Look out here.
Speed wide. Couture cuts in, draws a penalty as Hiller makes the save. Marleau gets to the rebound. Extra attacker on for the Sharks as Niemi gets to the bench.
No stick for Jonas Hiller. It's just immediately to his left.
Braun slides it over. Vlasic drops it off. Sharks in, for all intents and purposes, on the power play here. Vlasic fakes a shot. Braun and he play catch. Justin Braun fires, deflected over top, and it'll be touched by Lindholm.
There's going to be a holding penalty, and I think this is going to go against Corey Perry. This outside speed of Logan Couture, and you see he wraps him up and just makes sure that he can't get a clean bid against Jonas Hiller. So a 4-on-3 power play for the San Jose Sharks. 4-on-3 power play. It's all about setting up for the lateral pass and the one-timer. And Todd McClellan is going to take his timeout now as he rests his top players with an opportunity to win the game on the power play.
It'll be the 5th man advantage of the night. for the Sharks. They're 0 for 4, but it'll be the first, as Brian mentioned, of the 4-on-3 variety. 12 of their 35 shots on goal in this game have come on the power play. 3:34 left to go in overtime in San Jose.
Over at the Sharks bench, assistant coach Matt Shaw telling his players how he wants them set up. He's got the dry erase board out, but virtually every 4-on-3 is designed for a cross-ice pass and a one-time shot from somewhere below the top of the circles. And Jonas Hiller will be telling his people, just give me a chance to see it. Just let me see the shot.
And off the face-off, the Ducks able to clear the zone. Getzlaf, Fowler, and Winnick, the penalty killers, to begin for the Ducks as Boyle brings it into the middle. Pavelski carries up the right side. Fowler engages him physically, works the puck loose. Good job there, and Getzlaf has nothing but space up the middle.
All three players battling down below the goal line. This configuration, you got two forwards up top for the Ducks, one defenseman back.
Getzlaf broke up the pass, but the puck held in by Marleau. Across for Boyle, and his shot partially blocked by Fowler. Couture gets it back for Pavelski. Sharks are set up with 1:20 to go on the power play. Couture out high, hands it off Marleau to Boyle. Tries to pass it across, and as Fowler stayed down, he was able to block it. Now Boyle curls off the near boards and fires. That's blocked. It may have been friendly fire. I think it might have hit Marleau. Marleau centers. And a diving effort by Getzlaf clears the zone. Anaheim will get changes.
What a play. Just great efforts down low. Cam Fowler, just a gutty effort from him tonight. He has played so much.
And Niemi serves it away, and Bonino got it to Koivu. His long shot easily handled by the San Jose netminder. Thornton takes the stretch pass, cuts to the middle, and his pass broken up by Bonino. Loading up for the big one-timer, but Bonino got his stick in the passing lane. Thornton again gains the line, back for Vlasic. He'll wind and fire, blocked. Winnick up with it, and he fires it off the boards all the way down. 20 seconds left in the San Jose power play. Niemi thinks better of rifling it up the middle. Time for one last rush on the San Jose man advantage. Burns off his stick, off the glass, and out of play.
Just battles down low. Cam Fowler into the shooting lane. Sweeps the stick. Boy, the samurai swat works for Cam Fowler, and then the effort by Ryan Getzlaf. The block shot for Winnick takes one off the chest and gets the clear. The Ducks doing all the little things.
Under 10 seconds now in the San Jose power play as Havlat touches it for Vlasic. Around the boards and in, no shots on goal during the 4-on-3 power play for the Sharks. Hurdle to the corner after it. Down to 1.5 minutes to go in overtime. Winnick takes it away. Fowler pushes the pedal and moves it up the right side. The return pass from Perry blocked, and he spins behind the net with it. Puck stuck on the back of the goal. Getzlaf trying to dislodge it. Vlasic freezes it with his skate, then tries to fall. Getzlaf does dig it out. Lovejoy loses the handle as he picked his head up.
Well, too bad. He was looking for Lindholm, and there was space.
Anaheim forced to get onside, down to 1 minute to go in overtime. Lovejoy moves it ahead, and Perry carries in. Tries to get through two defenders, did, but his pass just a touch behind Cogliano, and here come the Sharks. Three abreast, Demers across the line for Braun. Deflected over top and out of play. A good job coming back by Corey Perry.
Yeah, Lindholm as well. So good with his stick for a young defenseman. Look at Lindholm get on his horse, right side of your screen, to make sure that Couture is not wide open, and then he gets that stick and extends it. And before Braun can release the puck, Hampus Lindholm is there. Great defensive play.
46.5 seconds left in overtime, and the face-off deep in the Anaheim zone. To the left of Jonas Hiller. Well, when the Sharks and Ducks get together, it's worth sitting down and watching, isn't it?
It's a great hockey game. I'm just so impressed. The banged-up Ducks once again hanging around. And right in this game with an opportunity to get that second point. That's holding.
Vatanen is taken down and a penalty here to the Sharks. Only 31.4 seconds left, but that one was impossible to ignore. Demers can't believe it. There can't be much gray area here.
Now this is a tackle, and a good job by Sami Vatanen to challenge Jason Demers.
Now it's just the third power play chance of the night for Anaheim. It'll be a truncated power play at best. 31.4 seconds is all that remains in overtime.
See what Getzlaf does in the face-off circle here against Couture. Couture is an excellent draw. Does he try and just tie him up and let his wingers come in and get possession of this puck?
He's out with Perry, Penner, and Fowler. A 4-on-3 man advantage, and Getzlaf, Key wins the draw. Fowler settles it at the stripe. Moves it down low. Perry from a bad angle. Tried to slide it over for Penner. Smothered by Niemi, but he didn't get the whistle. Vlasic sends it around the boards and out. Getzlaf is there to get it. Only 15 seconds left in overtime. Cross ice, he goes with it. And Penner between the legs in for Fowler. He tips it to the corner. Vlasic holds him at bay. Puck up the boards. Kept in by Getzlaf. 4 seconds left, and a long shot by Penner is deflected to the corner by Stewart. We will go to a shootout tonight in San Jose.
Corey Perry, the guy that shoots first and passes second, is looking for Dustin Penner. See the push off by Penner? Boy, that was a good looking play. Penner pushes off the defender, and that puck was knocked out of midair. Otherwise, Justin Penner would have had a 4x6 to slide it home. Great comeback by the Ducks here in the third period.
So we're not done yet at the SAP Center. A shootout is next.
Antti Niemi, career-wise, has a pretty good record in shootouts. Has not been the case this season, just 2-4. And a big goaltender, and not the most agile of goaltenders. Jonas Hiller is 1-1 on the season.
The Ducks have been good as shooters in the shootout. They are connecting on 42% of their shots as a team this year. However, two of the guys that have had some success not with them here tonight, Jakob Silfverberg and Teemu Selanne. But they still got plenty of ammunition. Perry, Bonino, Koivu, and Getzlaf have all participated in shootouts this year as shooters. I always find this to be an interesting decision as well, Brian. The home team has the choice whether to go first or not. And different coaches have different philosophies.
Well, the great majority elect to go first. They think it is a huge psychological edge. If their first shooter can score, that it just ramps up the pressure on the opposition and makes their own goaltender relax a little bit, because he's got, essentially a one-goal lead to play with.
Well, here are the shooters for the shootout, as we're getting word now. Couture, Pavelski, and Boyle for the hometown Sharks, and Bonino, Perry, and Palmieri. So it'll be our first look at Kyle Palmieri in a shootout this season for Anaheim.
Nick Bonino, of course, he's a guy that likes the deke for the most part.
Well, I think he's a little bit of an unknown commodity for some. I wouldn't say so much anymore for a Pacific Division foe or a Western Conference team. The Sharks do choose to shoot first as the home team. Personally, I think this is advantage Jonas Hiller and the Ducks, particularly if he can make the save on the first shooter.
And with a right-handed catching goaltender like Jonas Hiller, Logan Couture, the left-handed shot, and here he goes.
And he races in with speed. Hiller out to get a piece of it and put it out of play.
Hey, hits the post. Couture makes his shot, misses it by about a couple of inches here. He has the goaltender beaten, and he rings it off of the pipe.
So Nick Bonino with a big chance here as Anaheim could go up early in the shootout. Bonino 1 of 2 on the year. Left-hand shot approaches Niemi. And Niemi flashed the right pad at the last moment.
Bonino can't elevate the puck. He's got the goaltender just swimming, and he can't get it over the toe. Great second effort by the goaltender. Bonino can't believe it.
A picture's worth 1,000 words. Here's Joe Pavelski. They call him the Big Pavelski. In the shootout, he is every bit of that. And a right-hand shot that will weave his way in on Hiller. Stop and score.
You know, this is very close. The referees are talking right now.
I'm not sure
You're
about
not
that.
allowed to stop dead, and Bruce Boudreau is incensed at the Ducks bench.
Yep, Don Van Massenhoven immediately over after talking with Jean Hebert about it.
Does he have forward momentum? Watch him throw the brakes on. I think he stops. I think he stopped dead.
That's how I called it. He stops and he scores. That's exactly what I said. And they're going to allow it.
They must have looked at it. I mean, just the puck stops. Wow, we might have to take a look at that one in the postgame show
Something
again.
tells me we will. The ever-popular Corey Perry is next. He speeds in on Niemi, who denies him. He tried to go 5-hole.
Niemi took it away all the way. Corey Perry is committed to the 5-hole, and Niemi just kind of squeezed that right knee in towards his left and took it away.
So now, controversy or not, Dan Boyle can win the shootout for the Sharks right here. And the right-hand shooting defenseman speeds up, then weaves left, slows down, and hit the post. Boy. It's getting a little sublime, isn't it? I mean, watching.
They come in so slow. I mean, Hiller kicks the ankles up in the air to try and protect the top of the net. Boyle rings it off the short side post, and it's up to Kyle Palmieri.
His second career shootout attempt, and he needs to score to keep the Ducks alive in this one. He races in on Niemi. Glove save, Niemi, and the Sharks win.
Palmieri's trying to go top glove, and I think he just misses his shot. Niemi holds the hand there. There's not much space over top of it, and Palmieri drills it right into the goaltender's glove. And the San Jose Sharks get the second point. I'll tell you what, though, John, this was a good point. From an Anaheim perspective, you're trailing by 2 goals entering the third. A gutsy comeback. Anaheim gets a point on the road. I'm impressed with the effort tonight.
A hard-fought point. Anaheim down 3-1 with 8 minutes to go. Forces overtime, but loses in a shootout. Our final score in San Jose, the Sharks 4, the Ducks 3. Ducks Live is next.